Me and all my friends were all misunderstood. They say we stand for nothing, yet there's no way we ever could. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. Well, it feels like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. Well, it's hard to beat the system when we're standing at a distance. We keep on waiting on the world to change. Now, if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more ribbons on the door. Now, when you trust your television, what you get is what you got. When they own your information, oh, well, they can end it all they want. That's why we keep on waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. Well, it's not that we don't care, we just know that this fight ain't fair. We keep on waiting on the world to change.
Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world, waiting on the world to change.
Oh, we keep waiting. We keep waiting. We keep waiting. We keep waiting. We're waiting. So now we're waiting on the world to change. Yeah, we're waiting on the world to change. Oh yeah, we're waiting on the world to change. One day our generation is gonna rule the population. Now we're waiting on the world to change. We're still waiting on the world to change. Oh yeah, we're waiting on the world to change. We're waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change.
Hello, future Dukes. I'm President Jonathan Alger, and I'm delighted to welcome you to JMU's virtual open house. I'm thrilled that you're joining us throughout the month of October to see everything that James Madison University has to offer. From our tremendous faculty to our top-notch facilities to the winningest college athletics teams in Virginia, I know that there are few universities that can match everything that we have to offer at JMU. I know it's a most unusual time to be looking at colleges, but we're more committed than ever to providing you with the best possible experiences that can transform your life. JMU is an institution that is always focused on its students, and you will see that emphasis in everything we do. During this open house, you will be introduced to a wide variety of programs, services, and opportunities that we offer to incoming students. We continually hear from our students that they find their place here, and that the true magic of Madison is found in its people and in the relationships that are at the heart of education. We would be honored and excited to welcome you here if you choose to add your name to the long list of impressive students who have called JMU home. I look forward to seeing you in person soon, so please enjoy this virtual open house, and go Dukes!
Hello, JMU Nation. We are here today to kick off JMU's virtual open house. My name is Chris Gothard. I'm an admissions counselor in the Office of Admissions. I'm also a proud alum. I graduated class of 2019 with a BA in political science and a minor from the Honors College. I am so excited to be here with you this evening to kick off this month-long event that will showcase everything that JMU has to offer. To all of the future Dukes, parents, and families out there, welcome to JMU. We are so glad you are here with us tonight and will be joining us for the rest of this month. Current Dukes, parents, and alums, welcome to you as well. Feel free to share any advice for future students in the chat. You can even tag a friend or parent or anyone else who might want to learn a little bit more about JMU. Before I introduce our student panelists, I'd like to let our audience know that the chat is open for any questions you'd like to ask a current JMU student. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube, so feel free to type a question on either platform and we will answer a few questions live right here tonight. So let's go ahead and meet our student panelists, all of whom are student ambassadors or part of our Students for Minority Outreach. Jasmine, take it away.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jasmine Pettis. I am a junior health science major, chronic illness and Asian studies minor. And some organizations I'm involved in on campus, I'm on Mosaic Dance Team. I'm a part of Proudly Assisting and Welcoming Students, or PAWS for short. I am a part of Students for Minority Outreach, and I'm a mentor on JMYOU.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cuda Zumuda. I am a sophomore from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I am a finance and communication studies double major with double minors in Spanish entrepreneurship. And on campus, I am involved in a peer facilitation program called Outriggers, a program called Make Your Mark on Madison, and a co-ed service fraternity called Alpha Phi Omega.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Alexander. I am a senior from Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. I am majoring in psychology and Spanish with a minor from the Honors College, and I will be graduating in May of 2021. And some things I'm involved here on campus are student ambassadors, so that means I'm a tour guide. I'm also involved in InterVarsity Christian Fellowship and also a leadership program called Make Your Mark on Madison.
Hi everyone, my name is Michaela Dukes. I am from Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm a senior. My majors are political science and sociology, and then I have a minor in public policy and administration. Some organizations that I'm involved in on campus, I'm involved with Multicultural Greek Life, I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, as well as Student Government Association, Student Ambassadors, Make Your Mark on Madison, and I'm also a diversity educator through the Deep Impact program.
All right, so before we take our first question, let me just give you a brief overview of this virtual open house. We have so much to offer you throughout this entire month of October. If you're not sure where to start, no worries. We have prepared 16 interest area discussion panels for you to watch, including one made for those that do not know yet. So you'll be all set there. If you hear from an academic area that piques your interest, check out the schedule for October and mark your calendar for their live presentation. We will also have 3 to 4 live sessions each day, so the whole month is definitely packed full of opportunities for you to hear more about JMU. You can sign up for an admissions visitation session and take live tours of campus as well. Just be sure that you check out all that we have to offer you during this virtual open house. But now let's go ahead and take your questions. We already have one in. I will go ahead and direct this to Jasmine. Jasmine, how did you find JMU and why did you decide to come home? And then the other students, if you could just respond as well.
Yeah, so first, it's actually kind of funny how I found JMU. I was scrolling through Twitter one day as a sophomore in high school, and it was a page that was just designated to posting photos of different colleges across the country. And I saw one of JMU, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my God, this campus is so beautiful. So I clicked on it, and I found out I was in Virginia, and I'm from Virginia. So that's how I was first kind of introduced to campus. And when I decided to come here, I think I was a junior in high school. I came to campus to tour, and my tour guide was so welcoming. I will never forget when I was at Choices and I was taking a tour of East Campus, and it was just incredible. Everybody was so welcoming. Everybody was so nice and friendly. And yeah, it was just the feeling that I was home, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's how I knew I wanted to come here.
Yeah, and for me, I found JMU through my high school guidance counselor. I was really interested and still am really interested in business, and JMU has a really good business school. So that was something that really drew my attention. And for me, one of the most important things from transitioning to high school was still having a sense of community because, I would be living kind of far from home, and I just all new experiences. And when you're at JMU, I truly feel like the community is everything. Every alum or parent or relative of someone I've met at JMU, whether they're on campus or whether it's in Virginia Beach or somewhere totally else, if you're wearing JMU merch, somebody will come up and go, "Oh, my aunt went to JMU," or "my cousin," or "my sister," and they absolutely love it. And I think the resemblance and the bond that JMU alumni and families have with JMU is one thing that makes our school really special.
For me, JMU was pretty unexpected. I wanted to go somewhere considered like south for me because I'm from Pennsylvania, but I didn't want to be too far from home. A little 5 hours or less was kind of my goal. And so I looked at a bunch of Virginia colleges, and my dad mentioned we just drive through JMU, but it was a Sunday, so I couldn't even take a tour. So I kind of put it on my list. I thought I would apply to it, but I wasn't really sure. And I only came down here to look at the school because I had to interview for something. But once I got a glimpse of the school, I started thinking, maybe I should consider JMU more highly. And I suddenly started being interested in it, which I didn't expect. And when I found out more about JMU, I didn't take my first official tour until a month before my deposit was due. But I loved it. I actually happened to have a tour guide from Pennsylvania, and it just felt right, kind of like Jasmine said. It was just learning about all the different opportunities to serve, and the way the community cared about each other just really stood out to me. And that was something that I was looking for. And because I didn't think that it was one of my top schools, it was like the bottom of my list. And suddenly I started thinking about it so highly and considering it. That's kind of how I knew it was meant to be, which is sort of weird to say. But once I got here, I realized I couldn't have gone anywhere else. And I was so happy to be here. And I really do think that you are the one who makes the most of your college environment. And so once I got to JMU, I was really interested in doing that. And that's what's happened for me. And it's just been the greatest place with the greatest people.
So how I came to JMU was kind of unique. I'd been kind of undecided all throughout my senior year, but I'm from Northern Virginia, so I'd had a bit of exposure to the university through friends or relatives and things like that. But actually my counselor from high school, her daughter went to JMU, and one random day she pulled me out of class, and she had brought her daughter home from school to tell me about JMU. And I was like, wow, that was really nice of her. And for her to come home from school. So throughout senior year, I was undecided. May 1st, the last day you can put your deposit down, I was sitting in calculus and I texted my mom. I said, "Mom, put a deposit down. I think I've decided on JMU." Just thinking about all of the kind gestures that I've received from individuals from JMU, and just really observing the culture from just seeing people in passing that have JMU gear and they're so passionate about the university. So that's ultimately why I chose JMU, and the community has been everything that I've expected and wanted out of a college experience, and I couldn't have made a better choice.
Thank you all for that answer. We have another question in here. What is the average class size at JMU, and what are the largest and smallest classes that you've experienced? I'll go ahead and shake up the order just a little bit, and I'll start with Lauren.
So the average class size is around 29, and that varies, but as you get into your major and what your focus is, it tends to get smaller. We start out with general education courses. You can take those anytime during your time here at JMU, but a lot of people tend to take it in their first few years. And so because more of the JMU population is taking those courses, they tend to be a little fuller, but you can still kind of see around the average class size when you look at the seats when you register. So actually the largest class I've taken is about 70 or 80 people. And so for me, that wasn't too big. And then the good thing about those larger classes is that they take students who have done well in the course and they have them be teaching assistants or TAs. And so those students know what it's like to be a student and take the course. And so if your professor's ever booked or their office hours don't work for you, you can go ask a student who's taken the course and they can help you. But then as I've gotten into my majors, it's gotten much smaller, and the smallest class size, probably I think about 7 people. My Spanish classes tend to be pretty small, which is really nice because then we can have a lot of discussion and really practice our Spanish. But like I said, they definitely get small as you get into your major.
Also, Michaela, can you share what your largest and smallest classes have been?
Yeah, so my largest class, I want to say it was around 150 people. But I would say even with those large courses, in that class where I had like the most amount of people, I got so close with my professor, and we actually still maintain contact. So I would definitely say that those large courses, you still get that like professor, like intimate professor interaction, because they are really here for the students. My smallest class size, I think it's actually with Lauren. We were in an honor seminar, and it was roughly, I want to say, about 10 to 12 students. So it was really small. We had a really intimate, we had a lot of intimate conversations. And I feel like a discussion can really flourish both in large and small classrooms, just because professors really do take care and make sure that we have those interactions.
Cuda, any commentary on class size, largest and smallest that you've experienced?
Yeah, what Lauren and Michaela was saying, I've been saying I definitely agree with. I think one thing that's really unique about the way that you register for classes at JMU is that you can kind of begin to look at your class size preferences. For example, for Psych 101, which is one of the general education classes, I was in a class that had 25 people in it, I believe, and my roommate was in a class that had 100 people. And it was the same content, just different times and different professors. So if you learn better with a smaller class, then you can choose that kind of schedule if that works for you.
That's a great point. Jasmine, you want to bring it home? Largest and smallest class size that you've experienced?
Yeah, so I think the largest class I was in, I think it was about 150, like somebody said, and the smallest, currently this semester, I'm in more of a my major focus class, so it's about 30 people. So yeah, like Lauren was saying, it's more about like discussion based once you get into your major, which I really like.
Awesome. And we have another question that just came in. It's admissions related, so I'll go ahead and field that. Aria asked what the right number of AP classes are to take in high school. Great question, Aria. If you have AP, IB, dual enrollment, those college level classes available to you at your high school, we do love to see those on your transcript. We do not have a number requirement there. Just challenge yourself however that looks, and then make sure that you're also getting the right grades in those classes. We would love to see those A's and B's in your core areas. Thank you for that question, though. The next question that we have is, how do you go about getting involved on campus? And I will change it up and start with Cuda this time.
Yeah, so getting involved on campus, there are a lot of different opportunities and options. The Student Activities and Involvement Office on campus is one really great resource to kind of like look into getting involved. They run our student org and involvement night, so you can go, and each organization on campus has a booth set up in our convocation center, so you can walk around and really begin to see what you're interested in. And they also run programs such as Find Your Fit, where you can meet with a member of the student body, a member of Outriggers, and they will sit down with you and talk about what you're interested in and help you really begin to explore that.
Michaela, do you mind taking this as well?
Yeah, sure. So another way to get involved, kind of like how Cuda mentioned, through Student Org Night and events that Student Activities and Involvement hosts. There's also another program called Make Your Mark on Madison, which is a more, I guess, structured route of kind of finding your way on campus. You're put into a council with a group of individuals within your respective academic year, and you really just kind of dive into your interests, and you get to kind of speak with other individuals about what you're passionate about. And it's a really great way to find to meet other members of the JMU community, as well as kind of get your foot in the door with regard to involvement. I would definitely say social media, because like we're in the age of information, and a lot of organizations on campus have social media accounts, and just following them, like liking their posts, keeping up with what they're doing, because a lot of student leaders and active members on campus, we are really seeking out individuals that want to get involved. So definitely I'd say following like social media and just maintaining those contacts virtually.
All right. Jasmine, do you mind taking this as well? How do you go about getting involved on campus?
Yeah, so every year I make it my mission to go to Student Org Night in the fall, because every year I kind of find different organizations, like Michaela was saying, off of social media, and just think, oh man, I missed that one last year. I'll go next year and try to apply, or just like sign up for and be involved across campus. And yeah, I think going on the Be Involved website is a good way. That way you can filter out your interests, and you can see how many like clubs and organizations are there or here at JMU.
Thank you, Jasmine. Lauren, we're going to change it up just a little bit, and you're going to lead us off on this next question in from Maria, who is from Pennsylvania. I'm the Pennsylvania admissions counselor, so welcome, Maria. We're glad to have you with us. The question says that 3 of the panelists are from Virginia. So do kids tend to stay on campus over the weekends, or do they leave campus to go home or visit friends? Lauren, you're also from Pennsylvania. Give us your perspective.
So yes, love Pennsylvania, love finding Pennsylvania people. But from my point of view, from my experience, my first year, I felt like a lot of people, I have a lot of friends who are from Virginia, obviously now. And I think a lot of people, for the majority, stayed here. Obviously, there's some weekends where people would go visit friends, maybe go home for a special event. But for the majority of people, especially my friends, we stayed, we did things together on the weekends. We studied a lot. I mean, just go to the library all day Sunday, camp out. But there wasn't a ton of people like leaving. I felt like campus was still pretty alive on the weekends. And obviously, since I'm from Pennsylvania, I didn't go home a ton, just one weekend for my sister's birthday. So it's nice because people are still here on the weekends and you get to make those connections. And that was kind of emphasized to me from the beginning of, if you want to make it home, you have to stay here and get involved and see what there is to do. And now that I've joined organizations, I'll have stuff for those on the weekends too sometimes. So that's another incentive to stay. But even just being from Pennsylvania, there's so many people to meet and there's so much to do. I mean, and especially now, people tend to stay here and just stay with their friends. And once you get that community, you're not going to want to leave them. But as a person from PA, I love all the Virginia people I've met and love being here on the weekends.
Thanks for that, Lauren. I'll go ahead and ask Michaela as well. What is there to do on the weekends? And what do you spend your weekends doing?
Yeah, so there's tons of stuff to do in Harrisonburg on the weekends. One of my favorite things, I'm a foodie. I'm a big foodie. So downtown Harrisonburg, there's tons of great restaurants to try out. So I have like a list of places that I want to try out before I graduate this May. So I've been going out downtown, just trying breakfast, lunch, dinner, all the things. I don't cook. Another thing, there's UREC has amazing opportunities to get involved and stay active. So I've taken advantage of a few of those events and those programs. They take a canoeing trip, they do kayaking, they'll take you camping and hiking. So I've done quite a few of those while I was a first year. And then when I brought my car on campus, my friends and I, we've just been exploring the area, going hiking. Shenandoah National Park is roughly 30 minutes away. So sometimes not even on the weekends, on the weekdays, we'll wake up early and do like a sunrise hike. A lot of really cool, fun things to do, whether it's just outdoors, getting into like nature, or just doing more like downtown sort of things, checking out the shops, and really immersing yourself in the community. That's been one of the most, I want to say, memorable parts of my Madison experience.
Yeah, great point, Michaela. And for those that aren't aware, UREC is short for University Recreation Center. And as Michaela was mentioning, they put on over 4,400 different programs last year. So definitely a ton going on campus and off. But speaking of off campus, I'll go ahead and ask you this question, Jasmine. Do you like the Harrisonburg area, the city that JMU is located in? And what is your favorite thing to do off of campus?
Yeah, so I absolutely love it in Harrisonburg. It's named the Friendly City, and they honestly are not joking. Everybody here is so friendly, so nice. My favorite thing to do off campus, actually last weekend, I went to the apple orchard for the first time, and I am from the city, so I don't really have access to any type of fruit picking or anything like that. The year prior, I went to a pumpkin patch, which was very out of my comfort zone, so that was fun. And I also went hiking, again out of my comfort zone. And yeah, those are my favorite things that I've done off campus.
Cuda, how about you? Do you like the Harrisonburg area, and what is your favorite thing to do off of campus?
Yes, I love Harrisonburg. I totally agree with everything Jasmine said. Harrisonburg, everyone is so incredibly nice. One of my favorite things to do is there is a farmer's market every weekend, and I love to go down there and like see all the produce and the artisan goods and such. It's a really great time. And like Michaela, I definitely have my list of restaurants that I want to make sure that I get to before I graduate.
All right, Lauren, off campus here at JMU, what is there to do? What do you take advantage of, and do you like the area?
Love the area. Now that I'm a senior, I actually live off campus and I live in a house downtown. So it's super nice. As they were saying, the restaurants are all amazing and they're within walking distance of my house. So I love to go try them out. And then one of the most kind of random but fun things that I've done off campus, we have a indoor roller rink called Funkies. And I've gone there with a few different groups of people throughout my time here. And that's just been such a fun activity to do with friends. I was awful at it, but it was a good bonding experience and something that I couldn't have done at home. So I love that.
Awesome. All right, we have some more questions coming in here. The next two are both admissions related, so I'll field those again. The first one is from Tony Ann. Are you test optional at JMU when it comes down to the SAT and the ACT? Yes, we are. We do not advantage or disadvantage any students based on whether they submit SAT or ACT scores. I can tell you that we have been test optional. This is going to be our fourth cycle. So we've done it before. I know a lot of schools are shifting that direction, but I can honestly tell you that you will not be disadvantaged in the JMU admissions process, the honors college admissions process, or the scholarship consideration granted to your application by electing not to submit standardized test scores. The next question we had is, do you apply to the honors college when you apply to JMU? And is there a certain GPA requirement? And this came in from Kennedy. There is a separate application for the honors college here at JMU, and you will have access to that after you submit your JMU application. So you have to submit your application to JMU first, and then you can go ahead and apply into the honors college. They do recommend a 3.5 unweighted GPA just to be most competitive for admission, but very much a holistic review. So they will be looking at your leadership involvements, your community service endeavors, and then obviously your academic performance and your response to their essay. So definitely apply. Love honors. I'm an honors grad, and I know we have 2 honors students here with us, and I think we would all highly recommend that. The next question that came in is from Alexis, and this one is directed to Jasmine. How did you decide on doing health sciences as a major, and how do you enjoy the major?
Yeah, so as a freshman coming in, I was actually a nursing major. That's still something I want to pursue after I graduate. So I guess last spring, I decided to change my major because I didn't get into the program here at JMU. So I changed to health science, so that way I'm still in the health science realm. So that way I'm still taking classes around. And after I graduate, that way I'll still have the prerequisites that I need for the nursing program at different schools. And I will apply actually this coming up May. I'm actually hoping to apply at VCU, that's closest to home, for the nursing program. So yeah, and I really like it. Being in the the health science, sorry, I'm so used to saying nursing. Being in a health science major is still kind of similar to nursing in the aspect that everybody still wants to be in that, I guess, like in the realm of health science, everybody wants to be in the medical science, either pre-PA, medical assistant, nursing assistant, like anything like that. So yeah.
Yeah, spot on. Nursing, health sciences, and the pre-professional health programs here at JMU are some of our most popular areas of study. So definitely that's right, Jasmine. The next question we got in is from Finn. How do you get around campus, and how do you get around Harrisonburg? Bikes, buses, cars? What do we do? Lauren, why don't you tell us?
So this was definitely a concern of mine. But there are lots of ways to get around Harrisonburg and campus. So we have a great bus system run by the Harrisonburg Department of Transportation. And so we have buses that go around on campus and also go off campus. So that's very helpful because during your first year, you will not be allowed to buy a parking pass. So therefore, most first years do not bring cars. And so even without that, there's plenty of ways to get around. They have an inter-campus shuttle line, and so that goes around campus, goes to all the different buildings. So if it's ever bad weather and you don't want to walk to class, they have those consistently coming on a schedule, that you can get an app for it, and you can track when the closest one will be there. And then they also have some buses that go off campus, which is very helpful. So there are shopper buses that go to some of the kind of like outdoor mall-ish, strip mall kind of places. So there's like Targets and Walmarts. So you can go to those even if you don't have a car, which is very helpful. And then the downtown area is just about a 5-minute walk from the quad. So even if you lived a little further off from the quad on campus and you didn't want to walk all the way there, you could take a bus to the quad and then walk downtown. There's lots of ways to get around. And then something I will mention that's very helpful, especially if you live a little bit further away, we have a Facebook group called JMU Rides. And so that's run by JMU students. And so they only let JMU students into the group. And then people with cars going places will post, I'm driving home to Pennsylvania for winter break. Chip in $10 for gas and I'll give you a ride. And I relied on that a lot my first year. Even if I didn't meet the people before, it always worked out. They were very friendly. JMU students took me home and got me to my family, and my family didn't have to do a ton of extra driving. And now that I have a car, I will post and give people rides. And so it's a really great system and kind of just exemplifies the way JMU students help each other out. But that's been very helpful as an out-of-state student for me.
Yes, thank you for that, Lauren. Love the JMU Rise page. I definitely took advantage of that when I was a student here at JMU. All right, next question. Erin is joining us from down in Austin, Texas. Erin already finished her application, so congratulations to you. We can't wait to review that. Erin is passionate about community service, and so that's where the next question kind of lies, and I'll direct this towards Michaela first. Can you share a bit about how students get involved in the Harrisonburg community and what some of those service opportunities might look like?
Yeah, so in my experience, in a lot of the organizations that I'm involved in, there's a service requirement. So we do a lot of service together. But if you're not, say, like involved in an organization quite yet, one great resource is sponsored by the Community Service Learning Office within the Student Success Center at JMU. They have a whole online dashboard. It's like a resource center, and you can kind of type in what your interests are, what your availability looks like, as well as if it's for class or any sort of other requirement, and they will match you with someone, with a partner in the community that you can kind of get involved with, and they'll tell you what the requirements are, what your time commitment will look like, and some things that you'll probably get out of the experience. So I've taken advantage of that as well. So through the class that I had with Lauren, our honor seminar, we actually had a service hour requirement. So through that opportunity, I worked with the Salvation Army in Harrisonburg. So I was placed through the CSL office, Community Service Learning, and I really did a lot of great work with the individuals experiencing homelessness here, in the community. And it was just really great opportunity to meet individuals in the community, as well as just get to know individuals that I was serving alongside. Also, there's trip opportunities. So you don't just have to stay in the Harrisonburg area. The Community Service Learning Office does a great job of organizing and facilitating alternative break programs. So there's weekend breaks, there's spring breaks, there's winter breaks and summer breaks as well. So anything you could really think of or fit into your schedule. Sometimes they're sponsored solely by the Community Service Learning Office. Sometimes they're co-sponsored with organizations. So I know my organization, one of my organizations, Student Government Association, we always host an alternative spring break down in Florida. So there's tons of opportunities to travel, bond with your JMU peers, as well as explore different areas of the nation and serve. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with community service at JMU. Tons of opportunities. The opportunities are really endless.
Yes, they are. Thank you, Michaela. Jasmine, I'll also come to you on this here briefly. Aaron is interested in healthcare and nursing as well. So do you know, well, first, can you share a little bit about community service opportunities that you're involved with, and then any healthcare based community service opportunities in particular?
Yeah, so I'm involved in PAWS, which is Proudly Assisting and Welcoming Students. It's a volunteer organizations here in the Office of Admissions. And basically what we do is basically things like this. We volunteer for student panels, checking people in for info sessions, talking with people during choices, everything like that. And more specifically for the nursing major, there's this club, the Nursing Student Association, and it's basically composed of all nursing majors, even if you're a pre-nursing major. So before you get into the program, you're considered a pre-nursing major, and it's consisted of those and also students who are in the program. And they have different opportunities for you to get involved in different communities around campus or off campus rather. You can work with the elderly population, the homeless population, people with disabilities. Literally, the like Michaela was saying, was the possibilities are endless. Really, they have opportunities where if you don't have a car, people will carpool with you. You don't really have to pitch in because everybody's kind of doing it for the experience for nursing. And yeah.
Thank you, Jasmine. We have another question in here from Sarah. Thanks, Sarah, for the question. Are most classes in walking distance? Cuda, do you want to take that for us?
Yeah, sure. So all of the classes that I have had and that I know other students have had are within walking distance. You can get from one side of campus to the other in about 20 minutes if you're, walking like at a reasonable speed. And when you go to register for classes, they'll actually show you on the system if they think you'll make it. They put a 15-minute break in between each class. So they'll tell you if they think you'll make it in time. And as Lauren was kind of talking about earlier, there is a really great bus system at JMU. And the bus stops at each bus stop on campus once every 5 minutes or less. So it's very walkable. And then there's also a lot of buses to get you around as well.
Thank you for that. We just had another question come in from Liv, who wanted to know about the merit scholarship opportunities available here at JMU. I can't go over all of them. We do have some great opportunities, so definitely check out the website, jmu.edu/scholarships. I will mention that some of them require a separate application, like our Dingle Dean Bluestone Scholarship, our most prestigious merit award. And then we also have others that you'll receive automatic consideration for, like our Madison Awards for Academic Excellence. So a lot of variety, but definitely check out the website, see which ones do require that separate application, and send your name in with any of those materials that are required. We had a question come in from Sarah. Thanks, Sarah, for this question. When do you get hands-on experience in your major? When do you start doing internships? Lauren, I'll come to you first if that's all right.
So it definitely depends on what major you're interested in, and I would definitely recommend that you look more into that, especially with all of the panels that we'll be having on our website for the virtual open house. But for me, as I started taking the past the intro level classes for psychology, I saw opportunities. They have it's called field placement in psychology, and so that's kind of like an internship. So you can take an intro class for that and do less hours, or take the full class and do more. And you can apply, and then once you get in, you take a class to talk about it and learn about it, and then you also can get placed somewhere in the community. I was supposed to do it this semester, but it's going to be moved to next semester, and I was going to work with a guidance counselor at a nearby high school in Harrisonburg because I'm interested in being a high school guidance counselor. But then otherwise, hands-on experience, a lot of majors, not just psychology, have students do research, which is another opportunity that's really exciting. And so for that, a lot of times once you take a class, if you find an area you're interested in, you can talk to the professor. Some research labs will have you apply. It works a little bit differently for each professor and each major. But for me, I started getting interested in psychology research because I was preparing to begin my honors thesis as part of the Honors College program. And so I reached out to the honors liaison for psychology, and she pointed me to a professor who shared the same interests as me, and he took me on in his lab. And so basically professors are just willing to work with students, help them. And it's really nice because obviously I didn't know how to do things in the lab before I joined, but he was really willing to work with me, to teach me, and to get good experience in an area that I was interested as well. And so I've heard of so many students who do research with their professors, and it's really exciting opportunity for students to be able to do that at the undergrad level.
Thank you, Lauren. We have another question that came in. This one's from Karina, and it's about the admissions process. So I'll go ahead and field that one again. I will put a quick plug in. We have an awesome information session that we run just about every day of the week. So definitely check out the open house website, get signed up for that, and we will go into a lot of detail for you, a lot more than I can do right now. But to answer your question, Karina, what does JMU look for in prospective students? We look for students that have a challenging course curriculum. So you're taking a rigorous class schedule, and then you're doing well in those classes. So you have the good grades that we all want. And then obviously our student body here at JMU, as you can see, is very involved. And so we do love to see some of those things, but academic performance is our primary consideration when we're making our admissions decision. I have a question here in from Alexis, and she says, kind of honest, what's it like being a person of color at JMU? Being a Black student, I'm very curious about the environment. I'll go ahead and pass this on to Jasmine, since you are part of Students for Minority Outreach, if you don't mind taking that for us.
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself. Yeah, being a minority here, it was never, I guess, difficult for me to find this place my home. When I first got here, I wasn't really involved in any, I guess, multicultural organizations. But once I started to like reach out and go to Student Organite and talk to people from my different classes, I found the Center for Minority, or CMIS, which is Center for my Multicultural Student. I can't get it right. But yeah, I'm in Student for Minority Outreach, which is a organization in that, and I found, which I actually joined this year, my junior year, and it's really nice to be in a community and in an organization where people are like-minded, and we have like a space to kind of just like call our own and be able to talk things out. And yeah, I wouldn't say that it's, I guess, I don't know what word I'm trying to find here, but I really love it here. It's not hard to find your place. Like we said, go to the, I can never say it, but it's CMS for short, CMSS. And yeah, we have different organizations there. I think it's 44 in total.
Thanks, Jasmine. Michaela, would you also like to respond to Alexis about what it's like being a person of color at JMU, and about being a Black student in particular?
Yeah, sure. So I'll be completely honest. Where I'm from in Northern Virginia is a lot more diverse than like JMU. When I first got here, I was like, wow, it's a lot less diverse. But I will say, speaking from my personal experience, although in my classrooms, I tend to be like one of the few people of color in our classes, I don't really feel, I don't feel like it, solely because JMU does really foster that sense of community. I can't speak for other students, and I would potentially say that other students may have often felt maybe like alone or just really in the minority. But JMU, I will say, is taking extensive efforts to really create those safe spaces for people of color, and Black students in particular. And they really do a great job of listening to students' concerns if they ever do feel out of place or just not quite at home. But in my experience, it's been amazing, just really getting involved in both CMIS organizations, Center for Multicultural Student Services, or just non-CMIS student organizations. I found my place in both. So it really is just a matter of where you want to kind of get involved. There's tons of organizations that are like, they have their arms wide open, just ready to welcome students. And I think we have a lot of students that are nearly all students are very open-minded and are just really welcoming. So yeah, that's my experience.
And thank you for sharing that, Michaela. We appreciate it. We do want to return the shout out from Jody on Facebook, who is tuning in from Massachusetts. and they love JMU up there. So I used to have New England as my territory, spent some time about a year ago up in Massachusetts, and definitely miss it. So hello to you, Jody. Thanks for joining us today. But the next question goes on to Cuda. Could you talk about the opportunity to study abroad at JMU and about any of the specific offerings that we have?
Yeah, so studying abroad at JMU, there are so many different opportunities. There's a whole website with all the different ones from the Center for Global Engagement. And it's a really, like, any experience you're looking for, you can truly find. There are some programs that are a semester long. There are some that are just for the summer. There are some that are 2 weeks. There are some that are 1 week, like they were talking about earlier with alternative breaks. Those are also listed where you can go and do service. And with each major, normally there are different study abroad programs available. So there's a lot of great opportunities to get involved. I actually had the opportunity to participate in a service learning trip in the Dominican Republic for 2 weeks, which was really, really cool to kind of go and like learn about other cultures, and then also getting the opportunity to help improve our world.
Thanks, Cuda. And yeah, spot on. We'll do a fun fact of the moment. JMU is the #1 provider of short-term study abroad offerings in the nation. So fun fact for the day. The next question I'll go ahead and direct to Lauren. This came in specifically for you from Kate. Can you talk about being a psych and Spanish major?
Yes, so I came in just as a psychology major. That's what I declared when I applied and came in. And then I took a Spanish class for my Bachelor of Arts because that's a requirement. And then I realized I wanted to keep doing Spanish. I'd done that in high school, so I decided to make it a minor. And then I decided I want to do even more Spanish, and I decided to make it a double major after consulting and making sure my schedule had enough room. It definitely depends on the major to see if you can do 2 majors, but for me, psychology is one with a little more room for, anything you want to add in like minors. And so because I'd come in with some credit and at a higher level of Spanish, I felt like I could do both. And I really personally enjoy it because even though my future career, I want to be a school guidance counselor, and that's more of a psychology field, I feel like A, I'm more marketable just for grad school, for jobs in general, but B, I can communicate with so many more people, and that just opens so many doors. And I can use it in so many parts of my life. So it's really nice to be able to have the opportunity to do 2 majors. And you just kind of have to see where your credits lie. And you have an advisor you can talk to for that. You get advisors for your major. And so it's really having those conversations with them and seeing, can I handle both? How many credits should I take per semester to do both? But for me, it's worked out very well. And that's another thing. If you have AP or IB credit and you come in with those, you can submit your scores to JMU. And if they're high enough, you can get credit for some courses. So that also helped me get a little bit ahead in some of the classes for my majors.
Thank you, Lauren. Kate also had a second question that I'll direct to Michaela, if that's all right. Can you talk about Greek life at JMU and about any of the experiences you've had with?
So, Greek life at JMU, I would say, is pretty multifaceted. There's different aspects of Greek life. So there's social Greek life, there's multicultural Greek life, there's service Greek life, there's academic Greek life, and there's professional Greek life. So with regard to social Greek life, I know there's FSL, and then there's also Panhel. They have their rush opportunities in the fall for Panhel, and then some sororities, I believe, do additional rushing in the spring, but not all of them. It's not an official thing. And then FSL within fraternities, for social Greek life, they do rush both in the fall and the spring. For service organizations, for service Greek life, as well as professional and academic, those are typically on a semester basis. And they have a rush process towards the beginning of the semester, and then they would have their new member kind of programming to get the new members acclimated. And then for multicultural Greek life, do things a little bit different. It really is kind of irregular depending on the organization. And it really is just a matter of reaching out to the individuals within the organization and going to their programs and things like that. And that's what I can kind of speak to. But I think that's about it in my experience with Greek life. We do a lot of service. There's a lot of kind of interaction with the JMU community and other like Greek lettered organizations. So we do a lot of collaboration with each other. I know for social Greek life, They do a lot of events and a lot of programming on campus, to where they're very front facing. So I would say with regards to Greek life, there's so many different aspects of it. So I wouldn't think, when you say Greek life, I wouldn't automatically think one thing or another. It really is multifaceted here on campus. And even if you say you don't find your home in Greek life, you can still do tons of other things. I have so many of my friends that aren't involved in Greek life, and they feel as though their purpose on campus has been met, and that they're involved in things that serve their passions. So yeah, that's all I have to share on Greek life.
Very well put. And some of those other things might be one of our 450 different clubs and organizations. So definitely a lot to choose from. Another fun fact for you at the moment. Jasmine, I'll go ahead and send this next one your way. Can you talk about your college experience? And more specifically, Lauren wants to know, do you feel that you've had the ideal college experience, an ideal college experience?
Yeah, so coming into college, you see on TV that you are, going to classes, maybe you have like a whole bunch of friends and you see the campus is beautiful. And honestly, that's JMU. JMU is the college on TV. We have this place called the Quad. It's beautiful. Everybody sits there, especially during the spring and summer. Everybody's there. We have quad dogs. We have quad squirrels. Yeah, just a little thing. I saw a black squirrel yesterday. Never saw a black squirrel in my life on the Quad. But yeah, I've had the ideal college experience, I guess, by finding my people in my organizations and in my different classes. That's more so going out of my way to kind of join study groups and going out of my comfort zone a little bit, because I'm kind of an introvert. So yeah, I think just, again, going out of my way, creating study groups, and because coming out of high school, I didn't really have to study. I didn't really just think that was a thing. I would just kind of go to class, take notes, and that would be it for the rest of the day when I leave, and kind of take my test. Hey, cool. That's it. And then come to college, it was kind of a culture shock coming into college and going to class, having to take notes, and actually having to study outside of class and sit at a desk and actually like reread. And so, yeah, I think I've had the college experience from that aspect.
Thanks, Jasmine. And y'all will see behind both myself and Michaela the Quad that she was referencing. So definitely a beautiful place, one of the favorite hangouts on campus. I'll go ahead and send this next question to Cuda, if that's all right. Have you felt supported by the university throughout this COVID-19 pandemic? And how does this semester feel different from last semester, if at all?
Yeah, I feel like, unfortunately, a lot is different than last semester. Obviously, when you are a really community-oriented place, you're normally used to gathering together, whether that's in the classroom, in a dining hall, just on campus within an organization. But almost everything has moved online for this moment. And I feel like the university is really trying their hardest to make sure that they are adapting as COVID continues to adapt and to support students the best way possible. And, I think, like I was saying, everything is different, but I really appreciate all the effort that JMU and their administration and their countless task force that are working on this issue are doing to make sure we're all safe.
Thanks for that perspective, Cuda. Definitely appreciate it. Jasmine, this question I'm going to direct your way. Would you recommend JMU to an introvert or a shy person? Is it the right environment for someone like that? And how easy is it to fit in? Sarah is wondering this, so if you don't mind taking that.
Yeah, so like I said, I was a major introvert when I came into JMU. I still am kind of an introvert. When I came in, I was in the mindset that honestly, I did not want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to stay in my room, go to class, maybe go grab something to eat and come back. And I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was really shy and nervous to even meet my roommate, to be honest. And once I got out of my comfort zone during 1787 Weeks of Welcome, And that's kind of like your orientation week coming into JMU during your first year. Your frog group, or my frog group, was consisted of everybody on my hall. So I was immersed into that community. So I met everybody on my hall. Everybody was really cool. Everybody was really nice. And it got me out of my comfort zone. It kind of forced me to talk to people. And that's something I really like about JMU, because even though I prefer not to talk to people, I like being forced to get out of my comfort zone. That way I can grow as a person and not really just be in my bubble all the time. So yeah, I think being at JMU definitely helped me grow as a person. I don't think if I didn't come to JMU, I wouldn't be able to even do this on a student panel. Freshman Jasmine would be crying right now, honestly. She would be so shocked that I'm sitting here talking to everybody. So yeah, I think JMU is the perfect place.
You're doing a great job, I might add. This next question I'll go ahead and send to Lauren, who is an honors student. What are the requirements for the Honors College, and how does it work does it work for all majors rather, and what makes it different from a normal course route? And this is from Hannah. Lauren, thank you.
So obviously, like Chris said, I am in honors, and you can be in one of 3 tracks when you're in honors, just depending when you join. So I applied right after I applied to JMU. So I've been in honors since my first year, but there's also track 2, which is when you apply during your time at JMU, and then track 3 when you only apply for the last part, which is the honors thesis project. And so if you come in as track 1, I'll speak to that because that's my experience. It's about a little under 30 credits that you end up taking, but they can double count for some stuff, and there's some different categories. And so you take some honors gen ed classes, and so those would double count for your gen eds. You take some honors seminar, which was the one that Michaela mentioned that she and I had together. And so that's just to like think a little bit deeper, have some deep discussion. And then you also take some electives. And so those can be seminars, those can be gen eds. You can make some of your classes honors options by doing a little bit extra. And so there's a lot of flexibility. But because you are doing those credit hours, you get the honors interdisciplinary liberal studies minor. So it does count as a minor, and it's a really, really good experience. And then at the end, you culminate that with the honors capstone project. And so this looks a little different depending on your major. But for me, it's a research project based on the research that I'm doing in the research lab with my professor. And it's typically a 3-semester project, so you get credit each semester you're doing it. And it's really just to be able to challenge yourself and kind of dive into a research area. And a lot of them culminate in a written paper. Some of them are projects, though. For me, honors is just a way to add a little bit extra, challenge myself. I never thought that I would be in a research lab writing this full paper, and sometimes it's really scary to me, but I think that's what college is all about, and I knew I wanted to challenge myself academically, so that's why I chose honor. College is hard for everyone, no matter what you're in, and there are some incredibly brilliant people here who are not in honors, so that doesn't just mean all the smart kids are in honors, but if you want to challenge yourself a little bit academically and have those deeper discussions, it's a really great option.
Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, definitely a comprehensive program of study here at JMU. This next question comes in from Sarah, and she asks, what sets JMU apart from other schools? Cuda, do you mind taking that?
Yeah, of course. I think JMU is different from so many other schools because of how much they really care about their students. They have so many different options and centers and offices set up to support you as a student in many different areas, whether that is for your background, for your academic standing, for your interest in the future, the career center. There are so many different options to support you. And one thing that really stood out to me when I was applying to JMU, my mom and I actually came here for a tour, and at the presentation we saw JMU's mission statement, and that's something I always really like to point out because it's centered around you as a student, and that's what mattered to me. I didn't want to be lost as a number or a statistic for the university, but I wanted to be valued as an individual, and I really feel like JMU fosters that community within the students, within the faculties, the relation together. And I feel like JMU admin really listen to what we want as students and how they can continue to improve.
Very well put. This next question seems to be a follow-up from Pat. I think I'll direct this to Jasmine. He wants to know, how do you get to the orchards as a freshman? Can you share with us, Jasmine?
Yeah, of course. I love the apple orchard. So, as a freshman, I believe you could go onto the Facebook group that Lauren was talking about earlier, the JMU rides, and just make a post and say, "Hey, I was thinking about going to the apple orchard this weekend or whatever date you wanted to go," and see when people are going, so you could probably catch a ride. Also, I would advise people to join your JMU class Facebook page and also post there. And yeah, say just the same thing. Just say, hey, just want to go to the apple orchard. Is anybody interested? And yeah.
Yeah, great, Jasmine. And I will say this too, a lot of the different clubs and organizations have a ton of events that go on campus and off campus. So some of the clubs might get together and all go to the orchards as a unit. And obviously the upperclassmen would provide transportation for some of those freshmen who are without cars. Michaela, I'll direct this question from Carrie your way. Were you homesick in the beginning of college, and how was your adjustment as a freshman?
All right. So I know I'm a senior now, which is so sad. I don't want to leave. But my first year, I was actually very, very homesick, and it was such a hard transition for me. I came in involved in one organization, and I found it so challenging. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And so I had to step away. And in that downtime away, I was just so lost. I kind of felt like a failure for like not being able to fulfill the requirements of the organization. But then I really had to kind of like reflect, and I took a step out of my comfort zone, and I joined the organization called Make Your Mark on Madison. And I keep referring to it, and I think so many of us have experienced it. I was in a council. I was actually in a council with Lauren, and we kind of got to discuss how we were feeling. And like I said, that was my first kind of foot in the door to getting involved. I feel as though a lot of us on this panel have discussed how our organizations have had an impact on us. And once you join an organization on campus, that really does kind of get the ball rolling with kind of helping you feel at home on campus. Like kind of like Lauren mentioned at the beginning, you get out what you put in. So kind of just taking that like step and just getting involved, whether you're in a leadership program or whether you're in a Greek-led organization or anything really. That is really how I combated my homesickness. And then my leadership counselor put me in contact with an organization called Student Ambassadors, and that's what I'm in now. She also put me in contact with student government, and I became the vice president of student government. So it's like just those mini interactions that you get with those individuals when you first join things. That's really what does that acts as a catalyst, but it does take that first step. And as hard as it is, it's so worth it. I'm a senior. Looking back 3 years later, I can tell you like that's really all it takes.
Thanks, Michaela. And the time has come for our last question here tonight. The question is, what final thoughts or advice do you have for students that are considering JMU? I'll go Lauren, Cuda, Jasmine, and Michaela. Lauren, the floor is yours.
Okay, I said this at the beginning, but I tell all my tours this. You can make the best of anywhere you go. It's just dependent on your attitude, and you get out what you put in. And I mean, I think personally, JMU is the best place to get all that out of it. And there's so many opportunities and so many great people. But regardless, I think you need to really, figure out what you want for yourself, and go in with a positive attitude, and you'll be able to grow so much. College is so much more than just classes. There are so many people to be able to meet and so many connections to make, and to me that's been the most important takeaway. And so don't get stressed with the little details. Just remember that you're going to be able to make connections and to meet people, and to just grow and change as a person. And I think that's the most important part of it all. I'm gaining so much more knowledge than just my classes. And that's one of my favorite parts of going to JMU. So just keep being positive. I know it's hard, but you're going to find somewhere and you're going to make it work, and it's going to be great.
Cuda, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Lauren was saying. And each of us have mentioned it tonight, but community really is everything at JMU. And I wish there was a way to like truly say how much it means, but like we are a place where we hold doors for each other, and you go sit with someone random in a dining hall and you just say hi to people when you're walking around campus. Like that's the culture that we have. And for me, like that really was everything. I find it really interesting and really compelling to be at JMU because it's a nature of cooperation and communication rather than competition. And that's really everything, I feel.
Thanks, Cuda. Jasmine, final thoughts or advice for students considering JMU?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about when I was a senior in high school, what I would like tell senior Jasmine about anything about college related, and I would just tell her to not be scared. Again, I was an introvert, so I would just tell her not to be scared to reach out for help and not be scared to ask questions about anything. Even if you are on tours to different colleges, don't be scared to ask any question, anything. The tour guides are there to literally help you and show you their campus. And enjoy high school because it doesn't last forever. I loved high school. Also keep up with all of your like deadlines, your Michaela, I'm sorry. Keep up with all of your deadlines and yeah, just enjoy the moment in the moment.
Thanks, Jasmine. And Michaela, why don't you bring us home?
Okay, as you can tell, I really love this university. And listening to everybody say their things, I'm not ready for May. I love this university. Okay. If I could give any piece of advice, it would just be to say yes to things. Classes matter. Classes are so important. And be present in your classes. But at the same time, don't get caught up in like the everyday of like assignments being done. Say yes to hanging out with your roommates and your friends and joining organizations on campus because the people here are really something special. Clearly, because I'm getting emotional, but I would say definitely being present because you don't want to like spend your like entire college career just like looking to graduation because you're gonna miss all the people that are here, and once you leave, that's it. I mean, you can always come back, but you don't really get another 3 to 6-ish, I guess, allow for the super seniors years on campus. So I'll definitely say yes, be present in the moment and don't wish it away, because college is really something special and you'll find so much about yourself. You learn so much from other people. The community is just beyond words. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Say yes to a lot.
Thank you for that, Michaela. Very sweet. I would like to acknowledge that there were some questions that we were unable to get to tonight. If you would like that question answered, please email us at admissions@jmu.edu and we will get back to you with that answer. So admissions@jmu.edu. But with that being said, this concludes tonight's virtual open house kickoff event. Please check out our website at jmu.edu/open houses to see all of the upcoming events. We look forward to welcoming you back here throughout the rest of the month. Thank you to our students for sharing some of their time, and thank you all for joining us tonight to hear from them. And I hope you have a great evening.